the Nonprofit Podcast, powered by DonorBox. In the ever-evolving world of fundraising, we're witnessing a shift driven not just by traditional donor-centric models, but by the collective power of communities rallying behind causes that they care about. It's a movement propelled by the tech-savvy energy of youth and the timeless wisdom of our older generations. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have completely transformed how we gather support. Now, fundraisers can quickly reach a wider audience by sharing compelling stories that spark meaningful conversations. This shift isn't just about raising funds, it's about rewriting the narrative of philanthropy, where every dollar raised is a testament to the strength of human connection and the impact of grassroots action. Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast. I'm Jenna, Education and Community Engagement Manager here at DonorBox.
And hey, I'm Britton, Fundraising Strategist here at DonorBox.
We're here each week with practical actions you can use today to increase donations and take your nonprofit to the next level tomorrow. Lately, on the Nonprofit Podcast, we've been exploring various strategies to engage different generations in fundraising, from Gen Z's preference for social media activism to baby boomers' trust in the traditional direct mail fundraising campaigns. Understanding these generational dynamics is absolutely crucial for nonprofits aiming to broaden their supporter base. And amidst these discussions that we've been having, the emergence of community-driven fundraising has been a recurring theme. So today we'll be diving deeper into this evolving trend, exploring why community-driven fundraising is gaining traction and how nonprofits can leverage it to forge stronger connections with supporters of all ages. Britt, I know that this has been on your mind quite a lot lately.
Yeah, absolutely, Jenna. I've been just seriously blown away by how much support communities are showing up. We're seeing it all across with their GoFundMe campaigns. It's like people everywhere are stepping up in times of crises, right? We're seeing it everywhere, whether it's families in the Ukraine and Gaza or right here at home. And this is exactly what grassroots fundraising really is, right? It's really when local nonprofits or community groups, they gather, they fundraise from regular folks like you and me, and really make those personal connections, and they get the community fired up. Many of these campaigns, it really looks like, social media, bake sales, car washes, community fairs, crowdfunding, local concerts. This is such a fabulous time to get your community involved, build a strong sense of commitment, and just keep the support going strong. I think, Jenna, just recently from what I remember, I read in the Nonprofit Quarterly that grassroots campaigns have been growing by 20% each year for the last 5 years. So that's proof that people are really making a difference together.
I think that is a really interesting stat. If we hear about anything in the fundraising sector that is growing 20% year over year, you'd think that folks want to get involved, right? And I completely agree. Community-driven fundraising is so cool. I guess for lack of a better word, it's so cool because it really relies on support directly from communities and networks, regardless of people's roles or skills or backgrounds. And I can see, too, given current news coverage, how this type of fundraising kind of sidesteps those bureaucratic delays and really guarantees that donations promptly reach those in need. So it bypasses the middleman and any barriers to delivering aid or services, ensuring that money instead goes directly to where it's most needed. When people are feeling passionate, they want to fundraise right away and offer help. So this is a great way to do that.
Yeah, and it's not to say, Jenna, that we should completely abandon the valuable work that nonprofits out there are doing, right? We know that nonprofits are critical. We know they're doing important work, but let's be real. Let's have a heart-to-heart conversation. There are some real-life barriers, top-down, that are making it extremely difficult for nonprofits out there to deliver aid, to deliver the services that they need to deliver swiftly to those who need it the most. So nonprofits, for all nonprofits listening out there, to get ahead of the game, we need to embrace modern fundraising technologies that really are kind of diving into some of these community-driven tactics, peer-to-peer fundraising, crowdfunding, monthly giving, and, those traditional face-to-face direct ask. And don't get me started on GoFundMe. We all love GoFundMe. It's been around for, so many decades, right? It has its perks, but it also has its challenges. I personally can attest to this. I am fundraising for a family abroad, and I will tell you the lack of recurring giving, the lack of reporting options, and the complexity of having to manage donations blindly is extremely frustrating. There's no easy way to know who recently gave or who gave multiple times, and I have no idea who to target to make my second ask. I've experienced this firsthand, just this kind of juggling act just to track and really develop those meaningful relationships.
I hear what you're saying, and I think that a lot of people use GoFundMe because it seems so accessible, right? But leveraging a mix of platforms beyond GoFundMe is so important for the reasons that you mentioned, right? Being able to give on a recurring basis, being able to track the people who have given, thank the people who have given, account for those gifts. And piggybacking off of this, I think we need to look at what creative community-driven platforms our younger generations are using as well. So that's platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and even Twitch can really raise awareness and drive engagement in fundraising. And what we always say here, Britt, you've heard me say this a million times, I'm sure you say it in a lot of your premium coaching calls, is meet your supporters where they are. And doing this is the perfect example of that.
Couldn't agree more, Jenna. That is such a great point. Really great point.
So, Britt, for our listeners, what would you say are 3 actionable strategies they can implement right away to take advantage of this shift into a more community-driven and grassroots initiative in fundraising?
Yeah, sure thing, Jenna. I'll keep it simple and straightforward. So, first, you really want to assess your tech. Take a deep dive into your donation systems. Are they user-friendly? Are they shareable? Do they support all of these community-driven grassroots tactics that we're talking about right here? Do they offer an easy way to sign up as a monthly donor? Are there ways to make those direct ask one-on-one, whether it be through emails or texts? Also, ask yourself, do your systems integrate with other tools to kind of give you this all-in-one suite? Email marketing, financial management, social media scheduling. That is number 1. Number 2, you're going to want to empower your community champions out there through personalized engagement. Identify passionate individuals within your supporter base who are already engaged with your cause. This could look like your regular givers, your most engaged followers on social media, your superstar volunteers. You're going to want to empower them to become community champions by providing them with personalized support and resources tailored specifically to their interests and strengths. And then next, encourage them to sign up for a peer-to-peer campaign or share their crowdfunding page in a way that really resonates with their unique abilities and connections. Jenna, one example I might offer is if you know one of your champions is a fitness enthusiast. I love yoga. I love working out. Perhaps they can organize a charity yoga class in the park where participants donate to join. Or if another champion is a talented baker, they could host a bake sale featuring their delicious treats with all proceeds going to the cause. And the third one, empower your team. What that really means is educate your staff on the effectiveness of good old direct ask. We have all of these modern ways to fundraise, but traditional good old direct ask are still very relevant. Equip your staff with the skills needed to know how to engage their donors authentically, personally, and directly. This might look like organizing regular training sessions or workshops focused on effective communication, the art of persuasion, relationship building. How do you tell compelling stories? This is all really to re-emphasize that the power of traditional methods like direct mail, phone calls, and text are still very much here today.
I think those are really fantastic strategies. And if I may, I might build upon these with a couple more of my own tips. So I'd say, I guess this is number 4, consider establishing a community fundraising committee. This committee should comprise of a diverse range of ages and backgrounds of passionate volunteers and supporters who are dedicated to advancing your nonprofit's fundraising goals. Again, you mentioned pulling out these champions, right? Your superstar volunteers, your social media followers. And you can create a committee with these people and task these committees with brainstorming and executing creative fundraising initiatives tailored to the interests and the needs of the local community, right? You really have a pulse on your community in this way. And you can encourage your community members to leverage their networks and connections to solicit sponsorships or donations or in-kind support for fundraising events and campaigns. And by decentralizing fundraising efforts and really empowering your community members to take ownership, you really foster the sense of collective responsibility and engagement in supporting your nonprofit's mission. And that also frees up your capacity as a fundraising team on a nonprofit, right? And piggybacking off of what you said about empowering your community, working to create a community fundraising toolkit would be a really important part of that. So developing a comprehensive toolkit or a resource guide that provides step-by-step instructions or templates or resources to help community members launch their own fundraising campaigns in support of your nonprofit. I always like to remind people, you are a fundraiser, right? On your team, this is something that you've worked for years and years, but your supporters may not be natural fundraisers and they need a little bit more of that guidance. Creating those toolkits that can help them really learn about your goals as a nonprofit, creating that compelling messaging and storytelling and leveraging their social media and the other digital platforms that they love, and working on stewarding donors. So you can offer those customizable materials such as email templates, social media graphics, event planning checklists, if someone does want to host a yoga meetup in the park, right? Just to make it really easy. And by providing this in like a centralized hub, you can make it easier for your supporters to get involved and contribute, which is really nice. And I would say you can include this link in your fundraising pages. Like if you have a peer-to-peer enabled campaign, want to fundraise for us? By the way, here's a link to help you get started. In your emails to all of your super supporters, your social media, your landing page, wherever that may be, so that it's easily accessible. So when there is a time of need and your community does want to fundraise for you, they have everything they need right at their fingertips.
Right. I love it. I love it as a way that people want to give, but they're extremely busy. So making it easy for them, also kind of controlling your core messaging, but at the same time, giving people that really want to help join your movement choice, right? And tell those stories in ways that really relate to them.
All right. I think that we have given our listeners a lot to think about. So, Britt, any closing thoughts here?
I always love this question, Jenna. I would probably just say I would really want to emphasize the importance of we really need to stay adaptable and open to new ideas in our fundraising efforts, right? We know this landscape of philanthropy, it's constantly evolving. What works today, what worked yesterday, may not necessarily work tomorrow. We need to be humble. We need to be vulnerable and continuously learn, right? We need to learn. We need to keep making mistakes, experimenting, and staying on top of our data to refine our fundraising strategies. And that's just a great way to make lasting impact in our communities.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today. I am so curious to see where this movement takes the fundraising landscape in general, but I think it's a really exciting one.
My pleasure, Jenna. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for joining us on the Nonprofit Podcast. I hope you've left with the confidence to take a small step today that will make a big difference tomorrow. Be sure to click the download button on your podcast player, then leave the Nonprofit Podcast a review, or give it a thumbs up if you're listening to the Nonprofit Podcast on YouTube. Your review is a great way to help others find us. You're here to help others. We're here to help you. Until next time, stay inspired.
That warm feeling when you help someone, it's not just happiness, it's fulfillment. And we believe it should be available to everyone, from frontline heroes to first-time fundraisers. Our tools empower you to help others. This is our mission. This is DonorBox, helping you help others.